The massive screens in Times Square flickered to life as the Galactic Federation's diplomatic fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere. Their ships resembled crystalline structures, each facet catching and refracting sunlight in mesmerizing patterns. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stood among the crowd of onlookers, her analytical mind already picking apart the spectacle before her. "Beautiful ships," commented Admiral Chen beside her, his weathered face betraying no emotion. "Almost too beautiful." Elena nodded, her dark eyes tracking the lead vessel's descent. After 15 years of studying theoretical alien propulsion systems, she knew enough to recognize when something wasn't adding up. The ships moved with an almost theatrical grace, as if every motion was calculated for maximum visual impact. The crystalline fleet touched down in the specially prepared landing zone in Nevada's desert, their surfaces dimming from brilliant diamond to clouded glass. The world watched through countless feeds as the Federation's representatives emerged. Tall, ethereal beings with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. "Greetings, children of Earth," their leader, who called himself High Ambassador Zix, announced through their universal translator. "We welcome you to the greater galactic community." Elena exchanged glances with Admiral Chen. There it was again. That subtle condescension in the alien's tone, the kind that reminded her of how some of her old professors used to address first-year students. The ceremony proceeded according to diplomatic protocol, with speeches about cooperation and advancement. Then came the moment that would change everything. As is customary, Ambassador Zix announced, his voice carrying across the desert air, "We present to humanity a vessel of our making. This gift will serve as your first step into the stars." The air shimmered, and a massive ship materialized above the gathering. But instead of the crystalline elegance of the Federation vessels, this ship appeared utilitarian, almost crude. Its hull was a patchwork of different materials, its lines functional rather than aesthetic. Elena's tablet immediately began collecting data, and her heart sank as she analyzed the readings. "Admiral," she whispered, "these energy signatures, they're barely above our current theoretical capabilities. This ship, it's running on technology that must be centuries behind their current standards." The ambassador's voice carried what sounded suspiciously like amusement. "This Wayfarer-class exploration vessel has served many developing species well. We're certain humans will find it adequate for their current level of development." Admiral Chen's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. In his 30 years of military service, he had learned to recognize an insult wrapped in a smile. This wasn't a gift. It was a cage, designed to keep humanity contained while making them feel grateful for the privilege. The ceremony concluded quickly after that, the Federation fleet departing in a dazzling display of light that left spots in everyone's eyes. Their gift was moved to a hastily constructed facility outside of Houston, where it would undergo initial analysis. 3 days later, Elena found herself standing in the ship's central engineering bay with a small team of Earth's finest minds. The ship's systems hummed around them, but it was a weak sound, like an engine running at minimum power. They really thought this through, Dr. Marcus Wong, the team's materials specialist, said as he studied a section of exposed circuitry. "Every system is just advanced enough to be impressive by our standards, but primitive by theirs. It's like giving a steam engine to someone who's just mastered the wheel." But Elena wasn't listening. She was staring at the ship's core design with growing excitement. "Wait," she said, pulling up a holographic display of the ship's power distribution network. "Look at this. The base architecture. It's not specialized like their crystal ships. It's adaptable." Admiral Chen stepped closer, his military experience letting him grasp the implications immediately. "You mean?" "They gave us exactly what they thought we deserved," Elena said, a smile spreading across her face. "But they forgot something crucial about humans. We have a habit of turning other people's trash into treasure. This ship isn't a cage, Admiral. It's a foundation." She turned to face the gathered team, her eyes bright with possibility. They think they've given us a ship that will take generations to improve upon. They want us dependent on their technology, their approval. She gestured to the exposed systems around them. But they don't understand human innovation. We don't just use technology. We transform it. Admiral Chen studied the engineers' excited faces around him, seeing the same spark of determination in each one. "How long?" he asked simply. "Give me 6 months," Elena replied, her fingers already flying across her tablet as ideas formed. "We'll show the Federation exactly what humans can do with their adequate gift." As the team dispersed to begin their work, Elena remained in the engineering bay, her mind racing with possibilities. The Federation had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity exactly what it needed: a challenge to overcome, a puzzle to solve, and most importantly, something to prove wrong. The ship's weak hum seemed to grow stronger, as if responding to the energy of human determination now flowing through its corridors. The Federation's gift was about to become something they never imagined possible. 2 weeks into the project, Elena's team had taken over an entire hangar complex at the Houston facility. Holographic displays filled the air with cascading data, while engineers and scientists worked around the clock, driven by a shared purpose that went beyond mere professional interest. Dr. Sarah Chen, Admiral Chen's daughter, and the team's quantum computing specialist, burst into Elena's office, her usual composed demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement. "You need to see this," she said, pulling up a complex diagram on the main display. "We've been looking at the ship's computer systems all wrong." Elena set aside her coffee, intrigued by the intensity in Sarah's voice. The younger scientist manipulated the hologram, highlighting what appeared to be a simple processing node. Everyone assumed these were just outdated computing clusters, but look at the quantum signature. The display zoomed in, revealing patterns that made Elena's eyes widen. "That's impossible," she whispered, but her mind was already racing with the implications. "These aren't just processors, they're quantum seeds." Sarah nodded vigorously. "Exactly. The Federation didn't give us a computer system. They gave us the building blocks for one. These nodes can be entangled, expanded, grown. It's like they handed us a handful of acorns, thinking we'd just admire the shells without realizing we could grow an entire forest." Across the facility, similar discoveries were being made. Dr. Marcus Wong had found that the ship's seemingly primitive hull material possessed unique properties at the molecular level. When exposed to specific energy frequencies, its atomic structure could be reorganized, transformed. "It's not just adaptable," he explained during the evening briefing, his hands moving animatedly as he spoke. "It's evolutive. The more energy we put through it, the more it can change. The Federation probably sees it as a cheap alternative to their crystalline technology, but we can make it into something entirely new." Admiral Chen listened to the reports with growing satisfaction. "They thought they were giving us training wheels," he said, "but instead they handed us raw materials with nearly unlimited potential. The question is, can we realize that potential before they realize their mistake?" Elena stepped forward, bringing up a new display. "We've mapped out the ship's core systems. Everything, from the hull to the quantum seeds to the power distribution network, follows the same principle. They're all basic systems designed to be built upon. The Federation sees this as a limitation, but that's because they've forgotten something fundamental about technological progress. Sometimes the simplest foundations can support the most extraordinary structures." Sarah finished, exchanging a knowing look with her father. The next few weeks saw the facility transform into a crucible of human innovation. The quantum seeds were carefully entangled and expanded, creating a neural network that grew more complex by the day. The hull began to evolve under carefully controlled energy exposures, developing properties that even Marcus couldn't have predicted. But it was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their theoretical physicist, who made the breakthrough that would change everything. She had been studying the ship's power core, a system so basic it was almost insulting, when she noticed something in the energy fluctuation patterns. "The core isn't inefficient," she announced one morning, her quiet voice carrying an unusual note of triumph. "It's incomplete. Look at these resonance patterns. They're like echoes of a larger symphony. The Federation gave us what they thought was a simple engine, but it's actually a seed crystal for something much more powerful." Elena felt a shiver run down her spine as she studied Yuki's data. "A dimensional tap," she breathed. "They gave us the components for a dimensional tap drive without realizing it, probably because no developing species has ever recognized the pattern before." Admiral Chen frowned. "In terms a military man can understand." "They handed us a rusty key," Elena explained, her eyes shining, "thinking we'd waste time polishing it. They never expected us to realize it could unlock doors they didn't even know existed." The discovery energized the team in ways Elena hadn't thought possible. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock, their minds alight with possibilities. The ship they were creating wouldn't just be an improvement on the Federation's gift. It would be something entirely new. Sarah's quantum network began to show signs of true artificial emergence, growing and learning in ways that defied conventional computing logic. Marcus's evolved whole material demonstrated properties that bordered on the impossible, able to adapt and respond to almost any external stimulus. But it was the power core that held the greatest promise. As they carefully fed energy into the dimensional tap configuration, they recorded power outputs that should have been impossible for a ship of its size. The Federation's gift was becoming something that defied their understanding of physics itself. "We're not just improving their technology," Elena told Admiral Chen as they watched the core's first successful test. "We're reimagining it. Every limitation they built into this ship is becoming a stepping stone to something greater." The Admiral nodded, his expression thoughtful. "How long until they notice?" Elena smiled, gesturing to the seemingly unchanged exterior of the ship. "That's the beauty of it. From the outside, it looks exactly like what they gave us. They'll see exactly what they expect to see. A developing species struggling to understand their hand-me-down technology." As if to emphasize her point, the ship's systems hummed with power that their sensors could barely measure, while its exterior maintained the same worn, unimpressive appearance. The Federation's gift was becoming humanity's greatest achievement, hidden behind a carefully maintained facade of mediocrity. "Remember what you said about turning trash into treasure?" the Admiral asked, a rare smile crossing his face. "I think we're about to redefine that concept entirely." 3 months into the project, the Houston facility had become a hive of controlled chaos. The ship, still appearing outwardly unchanged, had been dubbed Phoenix by the team, a name that grew more appropriate with each passing day. Deep within its hull, humanity's greatest minds were rewriting the rules of physics itself. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood before the dimensional tap core, her usually calm demeanor betraying hints of excitement as she presented her latest findings. "The quantum resonance patterns aren't just growing stronger," she explained, manipulating the holographic display. "They're becoming self-sustaining. The core is learning." Elena leaned forward, studying the complex energy matrices that danced through the air. "Learning? You mean like Sarah's neural network?" "No," Yuki shook her head. "Something more fundamental. Watch this." She initiated a power fluctuation sequence. The core's energy patterns shifted, adapted, and then did something entirely unexpected. They improved themselves. "That's impossible," Marcus whispered, but the data didn't lie. The core wasn't just channeling energy anymore. It was evolving its own methods of power generation. Sarah's voice came through the comm system, tight with controlled excitement. "Elena, you need to see this. The quantum network, it's responding to the core's evolution. They're synchronized somehow." Admiral Chen, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "Are you telling me the ship is waking up?" Elena's mind raced with possibilities. "Not exactly. But the systems we've been developing, they're not just working together. They're synergizing in ways we never anticipated." She turned to the assembled team. "This isn't just a breakthrough. This is something entirely new." The next few hours were a blur of activity as they documented and analyzed the phenomenon. The evolved hull material was responding to the core's energy patterns, developing new properties that defied conventional physics. Sarah's quantum network had begun generating solutions to problems they hadn't even identified yet. "Look at these equations," Yuki said, her hands trembling slightly as she displayed a new set of calculations. The dimensional tap isn't just accessing other dimensions for power. It's creating a new kind of space-time interface. Marcus studied the data, his expression shifting from confusion to awe. This goes beyond metamaterials. The hull isn't just adapting anymore, it's anticipating. We're seeing quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale. Elena felt a shiver run down her spine as the implications became clear. "We didn't just improve their technology," she said quietly. "We've created something that transcends it entirely." Admiral Chen's tactical mind immediately grasped the strategic implications. "Can you control it?" Sarah's voice came through again, confident and clear. "The quantum network is maintaining perfect synchronization. We're not just controlling it, we're communicating with it. The ship isn't becoming conscious, but it's developing a kind of technological intuition." The breakthrough had far-reaching implications. The Phoenix's systems were now operating on principles that the Federation's sensors wouldn't even know to look for. Their gift had become something beyond their understanding. "We need to test it," Elena declared. "Not just individual systems, everything working together." The preparation for the full system test took another week. They had to be certain that every innovation, every improvement, would remain invisible to casual observation. The Phoenix needed to maintain its facade of mediocrity, while harboring capabilities that would redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. On the day of the test, tension filled the control room. Elena stood at the main console, surrounded by displays showing every aspect of the ship's enhanced systems. Admiral Chen watched from his position near the door, his presence a reminder of everything at stake. Initiating power-up sequence, Elena announced. The core hummed to life, its energy patterns rippling through the quantum network. The hull began to resonate at frequencies that their instruments could barely measure. "Core stability at 100%, Yuki reported, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. "Dimensional tap is fully operational. Power output." She paused, double-checking her readings, "is beyond our ability to measure." Marcus's station lit up with data. "Hull integrity perfect. The metamaterial properties are responding exactly as theorized. We could fly through a sun and barely notice." "Quantum network online," Sarah added. "All systems are showing perfect integration. The ship, it's ready." Elena turned to Admiral Chen, her eyes bright with triumph. "This isn't just a success, Admiral. This is a revolution. We haven't just matched the Federation's technology. We've taken it in a direction they never imagined possible." The Admiral studied the displays, noting how the ship's external sensors still showed the same weak power signatures they had started with. "How long until we can demonstrate what it can really do?" Elena smiled, thinking of all the possibilities that lay ahead. "We're about to enter the final phase of testing." "But Admiral," she paused, making sure she had his full attention, "when we do reveal what we've created, it's going to change everything. The Federation thinks they know what humanity is capable of. They're about to learn how wrong they are." As if in response to her words, the Phoenix's systems pulsed with power that defied conventional physics, while maintaining its perfect disguise of mediocrity. The Federation's condescending gift had become humanity's greatest achievement, and their greatest secret. 5 months after receiving the Federation's gift, the Phoenix was ready for its first true flight test. From the outside, the ship still looked exactly as it had when it first appeared above Earth, unremarkable, almost primitive by Federation standards. But appearances, as humanity had learned long ago, could be deceiving. Elena stood on the bridge, now a marvel of hidden technology. Holographic displays shimmered in the air, invisible to anyone who didn't know exactly what to look for. The quantum network hummed beneath their feet, its consciousness-like processes monitoring every aspect of the ship's operations. "All systems are go," Sarah reported from her station, her fingers dancing over controls that seemed to respond to her thoughts as much as her touch. "The quantum network is maintaining perfect camouflage. External sensors will only see what we want them to see." Marcus's voice came through the comm system from engineering. "Hull integrity is optimal. The metamaterial structure is stable and responsive. We could fly through a supernova and look like we barely survived a meteor shower." Admiral Chen sat in the command chair, his military bearings softened slightly by pride as he watched the crew. Humanity's finest minds. Prepare for their first real test. "Take us out, Dr. Rodriguez." "Nice and easy." Elena engaged the dimensional tap drive. The Phoenix lifted from its berth with deliberate awkwardness, maintaining the illusion of a struggling ship. But inside, power beyond anything the Federation had imagined coursed through its systems. As they cleared Earth's atmosphere, Yuki's voice was steady as she reported. "Core is operating at less than 1% of capacity. Even at this level, we're generating more power than the Federation thinks this entire ship could produce." They pushed outward, past the moon, moving with apparent effort. But the reality of their capability was displayed on the hidden screens surrounding them. The Phoenix wasn't just flying. It was rewriting the laws of physics with every moment. "Ready for full power test," Elena announced, looking to Admiral Chen for approval. At his nod, she initiated the sequence they had practiced countless times in simulation. Dropping the pretense in 3, 2, 1. The change was invisible from the outside, but within the ship, it was like a symphony reaching its crescendo. The dimensional tap core engaged fully, drawing power from spaces between realities. The quantum network expanded its consciousness-like awareness to its full capacity. The hull's metamaterial structure aligned perfectly, making the ship nearly indestructible. "Power output is..." Yuki paused, double-checking her readings. "Infinite, for all practical purposes. We're not just generating energy anymore. We're creating it from the fabric of space-time itself." Sarah's hands flew over her console as new data poured in. "The quantum network is processing information faster than we can measure. It's not just learning anymore. It's innovating, coming up with solutions to problems we haven't even encountered yet." Marcus's voice held a note of awe. "The hull resonance is perfect. We're not just invisible to their sensors. We're invisible to reality itself when we want to be. We can choose what laws of physics apply to us." Elena felt tears in her eyes as she watched the displays. Humanity had done more than improve the Federation's cast-off technology. They had transcended it entirely. The Phoenix had become something new, something that had never existed before in the galaxy. "Take us to full speed," Admiral Chen ordered, his voice firm despite the emotion she could hear beneath it. "Show me what humanity has really created." Elena engaged the drive. The Phoenix leaped forward, but not through space, through reality itself. They weren't traveling faster than light. They were redefining what travel meant. The ship carved its own path through existence, using principles that the Federation had never dreamed of. Stars streaked past them, but they weren't blurred lines. They were possibilities, potentials, all existing simultaneously until the Phoenix chose which ones to make real. They crossed the solar system in seconds, but could have done it in microseconds if they hadn't been carefully documenting every aspect of the test. "We've done it," Elena whispered, but her words carried to every corner of the ship. "We've really done it." Admiral Chen stood, walking to the main viewport. "No, Doctor. We've done more than that. We've proven something that humanity has always known, deep down." He turned to face the crew, his expression serious. "It's not the technology you're given that matters. It's what you choose to do with it." As they began their return journey to Earth, maintaining their careful disguise of mediocrity, Elena couldn't help but smile. The Federation had tried to contain humanity's growth, to keep them dependent and subordinate. Instead, they had given humanity exactly what it needed: a challenge to overcome, a foundation to build upon, and most importantly, a chance to prove what humans could really achieve when underestimated. The Phoenix flew home, carrying within it not just revolutionary technology, but a truth that would soon shake the galaxy. Never underestimate a species that turns limitations into possibilities, that sees opportunities where others see dead ends, that takes a gift meant to constrain and transforms it into something magnificent. The Federation's lesson was about to begin. 6 months to the day after the Federation's gift, their crystalline ships once again appeared in Earth's orbit. But this time, they didn't come with diplomatic pleasantries. The fleet was larger, more imposing, and their message was clear: humanity needed to know its place. Your recent activities have concerned the Federation Council, High Ambassador Zix announced, his image displayed on screens worldwide. We've detected unauthorized modifications to our gift. This violates the terms of your developmental guidance program. Elena stood on the Phoenix's bridge, watching the transmission with Admiral Chen and her team. The Federation ships hung in orbit like shattered diamonds, beautiful and threatening. But she felt no fear, only a certain satisfaction. "They're scanning us," Sarah reported from her station, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Their sensors are showing exactly what we want them to see: a handful of clumsy attempts to improve their gift using our primitive technology." Admiral Chen straightened his uniform. "Time to answer their call." He nodded to Elena. "Show them what humanity does with other people's trash." The transmission connected, and Ambassador Zix's ethereal face filled their main screen. His expression carried the same condescending concern they'd seen 6 months ago. "Admiral Chen, we're disappointed. We gave you this vessel to help humanity learn, not to exceed your expectations." Chen interrupted, his voice calm. "Not to think beyond the limitations you try to impose." The ambassador's iridescent skin flickered with what might have been irritation. "Your species is young. You don't understand the dangers of uncontrolled technological advancement. We will need to repossess the vessel for your own safety." Elena stepped forward. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Ambassador. You see, this ship isn't yours anymore. It stopped being yours the moment you gave it to us, thinking we'd be content to play within the boundaries you set." "This is not a request," Zix stated. The Federation fleet moved into an attack formation. "The vessel will be returned, or we will be forced to take action to protect the Galactic Order." About that, Elena smiled, initiating the sequence they'd prepared for this moment. "Let us show you what humanity does when someone tries to put us in a box." The Phoenix's systems came alive, not with the hesitant power signature they'd been displaying, but with its true nature. The dimensional tap core engaged fully, the quantum network expanded to its full awareness, and the hull's metamaterial structure aligned to its perfect state. The Federation ship's sensors went wild as they suddenly detected power readings that should have been impossible. The Phoenix's humble exterior shimmered and transformed, revealing its true nature for the first time. "Impossible," Zix whispered, his perfect composure cracking. "These readings, they can't be real." "Oh, they're real," Elena assured him. "You gave us a basic ship, thinking we'd be content to simply use it. But humans don't just use technology, Ambassador. We transform it. We improve it. We see potential where others see limitations." To demonstrate, she engaged the Phoenix's drive. The ship didn't just move. It danced through space-time itself, appearing simultaneously at multiple points around the Federation fleet. Each position was real and not real, a quantum state made manifest on a massive scale. "You thought you were giving us training wheels," Admiral Chen said, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's determination. "Instead, you gave us raw materials and a challenge. Never a wise combination when dealing with humans." The Federation fleet's weapons powered up, but the Phoenix was already moving. It phased through their attacks like they were mere illusions, the evolved hull absorbing and redirecting energy in ways that defied their understanding of physics. We could end this confrontation right now, Alina stated calmly. Our weapons systems, developments of your basic technology, could disable your entire fleet before you could blink. But that's not why we're here. The Phoenix came to rest in the center of the Federation fleet, its power barely contained, reality itself bending slightly around it. We're here to propose a new relationship, Admiral Chen declared. Not as students to teachers, not as primitive species to advanced ones, but as equals. Equals. Six scoffed, but there was fear beneath his disdain now. You've merely copied our technology. No, Alina interrupted. We've transcended it. The principles this ship operates on now go beyond anything in the Federation's current understanding. We didn't copy your homework, Ambassador. We used the basic arithmetic you gave us to develop entirely new mathematics. Sarah's voice came from her station. They're trying to analyze our systems. Should I let them see? Show them. Alina nodded. Show them everything. The Federation ship's sensors were flooded with data about the Phoenix's true capabilities. Alina watched as Zix's expression shifted from disbelief to shock to something approaching awe. How? He finally asked. How did you do this in 6 months? Because you gave us exactly what we needed, Alina explained. Not advanced technology, not perfect systems, but a challenge. A chance to prove ourselves. Humanity has always been at its best when someone tells us something's impossible. Admiral Chen stepped forward. So now you have a choice, Ambassador. You can continue treating humanity as a species to be contained and controlled, in which case we'll be happy to demonstrate more of what this ship can do. Or you can accept that your attempt to limit us has instead revealed why we deserve to stand as equals. The silence that followed was heavy with possibility. Finally, Zix spoke, his voice carrying a new tone, something like respect. The Federation Council will need to be informed of these developments. They already have been, Alina smiled. The Phoenix has been broadcasting this entire conversation across your network. Every Federation species is watching right now, seeing what happens when you underestimate humanity's potential. As the Federation fleet withdrew, their crystalline ships somehow less impressive than before, Alina looked around at her team, at the humans who had taken an insult and turned it into triumph. What now? Sarah asked, her eyes bright with possibility. Admiral Chen smiled. Now we show the galaxy what humanity can really do when we're not pretending to be less than we are. The Phoenix hung in Earth's orbit, no longer hiding its true nature, a testament to human ingenuity and determination. The Federation had tried to give humanity a cage disguised as a gift. Instead, they had given them wings, and humanity was ready to soar.